Okay, everyone, let's get started with our webinar. So first of all, thanks so much for joining us today for the first ever Wandering Watersheds webinar on Take a Hike Day. Although the weather doesn't really look like hiking, at least here in Saskatchewan, we hope you will enjoy what we have planned for you today. Our webinar consists of a lot of pictures, facts, and videos. We are going to begin with a little introduction, then we will quickly go over some housekeeping, and then we are going to get started. So my name is Julie. I am the Watershed Coordinator for the South Saskatchewan River Watershed Stewards.
Thanks for that intro, Julie. And I'm Maddie Simso, and I work for the North Saskatchewan River Basin Council, or the NSRBC, as Special Projects Manager.
Thanks, Maddie. My name is Eric. I also work for the North Saskatchewan River Basin Council. I'm the watershed technician there. So thank you everyone for joining today. Before we get things kicked off, we're just going to go through some preliminaries here, some housekeeping. So just for your information, this session is being recorded. You'll get the recording emailed to you within 48 hours after this closes. Closed captions will be available in the webinar recording. A Q&A session will be available at the end of this webinar. So as we go throughout, if you think of any questions or anything you'd like to ask, please save those questions for the end, where you can raise your hand using the raise your hand icon, or just send them along the way in the chat box if you want to, and I'll keep an eye out for them and address them at the end. And also a handout with contact and program info will be emailed to you within 48 hours. So here's our first poll just to get things started here. Quick question for everyone. So how long is Saskatchewan's longest developed hiking trail? Let us know what you think. I'll just give it another moment here to get some more answers. Alrighty. So there are the answers that people voted on. Correct answer would be the Boreal Trail, the Meadow Lake Provincial Park, total distance of 120 kilometers.
So 120 kilometers is quite a hike you can take. Today, we will actually be hiking even more than 120 kilometers, but thankfully you don't have to walk. You just have to sit back and relax. So our hiking itinerary is as follows. Our first trail will guide us through our Watershed Stewardship mission. After that, we will continue with trail number 2 that wanders through the North and South Saskatchewan watersheds. This will be followed by trail number 3. On this hike, you will learn about different stewardship activities, and we will finish off our tour with trail number 4 and open up the floor for questions and remarks.
Okay, just another quick poll here. If you were to walk both the North and South Saskatchewan rivers in the province of Saskatchewan, how many kilometers would you be walking? Let us know what you think. Got a few more votes coming in. I'll just give it another moment. Alrighty. So there's everyone's answers. Let's take a look at the real answer. So correct answer, combined 1,236 kilometers for both the North and South Saskatchewan River.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad we don't have to hike all of that today. So I guess I'll just get us started here with just watershed stewardship groups in general and what we do. So there are currently 11 watershed stewardship organizations in Saskatchewan that are working for the health of our watersheds. We all take community level action to safeguard our water resources, and we are all actively engaged in environmental stewardship activities in our respective regions. So here's just on the slide here, these are some of the partners that South Sask and North Sask have collaborated with or are still collaborating with on current projects. So watershed stewardship groups in general, we often partner with individuals, organizations, agriculture, industry, municipalities, and government to set common goals to reach shared outcomes relating to watershed stewardship. So we do receive core funding from the Water Security Agency, or the WSA, and also through municipality memberships. So again, yeah, these are some of the partners that we are working with. So today, we'll just briefly talk about each of the watersheds that we'll be talking about later on more in detail. So the green area in the north here is the North Saskatchewan River watershed. And then the southern area here, this bluish green color, that is the South Saskatchewan watershed. So for the North Sask here, it begins in the Columbia ice fields in the Rocky Mountains of Alberta, and approximately 80,000 square kilometers of land of the watershed is in Alberta. And then once the North Sask River enters Saskatchewan, it proceeds in a southeasterly direction, and then along its journey, it gets joined by its largest tributary, which is the Battle River. And that is at North Battleford and the town of Battleford. Then it keeps proceeding southeast, where it reaches Borden and Langham area, where it changes direction into northeast, and it continues and flows through Prince Albert. And then it keeps going east, where it meets up with the South Saskatchewan River to form the Saskatchewan River. It will keep flowing, the Saskatchewan River keeps going, and it eventually makes its way into the Hudson Bay. So I'll let Julie kind of give a brief overview of the South Sask watershed.
Yeah, so basically the headwaters of the South Saskatchewan River begin in the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains. The South Saskatchewan River is a prairie river and first appears at the junction of the Old Man and Bow rivers in Alberta, and it is then joined by the Red Deer River. The South Saskatchewan River spans across southern Saskatchewan to the confluence of the North and South Saskatchewan River near Prince Albert. Yeah, and I am just going to quickly talk about the South Saskatchewan River in Saskatchewan more generally. So the South Saskatchewan River is probably one of the largest and arguably most important rivers in Saskatchewan. It is the single largest supplier of water for the province for drinking water, irrigation, industrial uses, and recreation. And almost 50% of the provincial population rely on the South Saskatchewan River for their daily needs. And up to 50% of the flow in the South Saskatchewan River is allocated to Alberta, and then 25% is allocated to Saskatchewan, and the remaining 25% are going to Manitoba. And now I'm just going to talk about the South Saskatchewan River Watershed Stewards and how we came to be. So the province of Saskatchewan formally initiated the South Saskatchewan River Source Water Protection Planning process in the spring of 2003. And this was in response to source water contamination events in Walkerton and North Battleford. The Source Water Protection Plan was finalized and published in 2007, and this is also when the South Saskatchewan River Watershed Stewards were established by the Saskatchewan government. We are a nonprofit organization working within the watershed to implement programs and initiatives that will protect the water resource. And we work with individuals, groups, and communities on stewardship activities that protect the watershed. And our activities are directed by a board of directors with members consisting of urban and rural municipalities within the watershed. And now I'm going to highlight some areas of interest in our watershed. So we will start with the west area. So the west area pretty much stretches from the Alberta border to Saskatchewan landing. So this is also the area where the Red Deer River joins the South Saskatchewan River. And if you're lucky enough to be on the river in a canoe or a kayak, you will be surrounded by rolling hills and prairie views, as you can see in this picture, which was taken just upstream of the town of Leader. The west area is also home to the Great Sandhills. And they are a unique 1,900 square kilometer area of active desert-like sand dunes. And these Great Sandhills contain one of the largest set of active sand dunes in Canada. And if you're interested in watching wildlife or bird watching, I would highly recommend visit this area, which is located south of Leader. Also part of the west area is Saskatchewan Landing and the Saskatchewan Landing Provincial Park, which celebrates the site of the first historic crossing on the South Saskatchewan River. And this park is also very popular for hiking, fishing, and boating. Then we will move on to the Lake Diefenbaker area. So Lake Diefenbaker is a large, narrow reservoir within the South Saskatchewan River. And this lake was constructed in 1967 by building dams on the South Saskatchewan and Capella rivers to create this reservoir. And it is 182 kilometers in length, and 44,000 acres are irrigated with water from the lake. The lake also provides hydroelectric power generation, livestock water, municipal drinking water, flood control, industrial water supply, fish and wildlife habitat, and obviously recreational opportunities. Also located within the Lake Diefenbaker area is the Gardner Dam, which is the largest earth-filled dam in Canada. And last but not least, I should also mention the piping plover populations, because Lake Diefenbaker is hosting one of the largest continental breeding population, representing up to 19% of the Canadian prairies population and 5% of the total North American population. And I should mention that piping plovers are listed as endangered, which makes it even more important to take care of this area. Now we are moving on to the north part of the watershed. So obviously Saskatoon is the largest urban center in our watershed, and Saskatoon's tap water is safe and healthy, with over 55,000 tests per year monitoring water quality. Water produced by the city's water treatment plant meets all, and in most cases is even better than rigorous national drinking water quality standards. Located within the north area is also the Watershed Heritage Park, and it is located along the Opimihaw Creek, just upstream of the North Saskatchewan River outside of Saskatoon. And this is a National Indigenous Heritage Site, which celebrates Métis and Plains First Nations culture. And I'm going to round up the tour through the South Sask watershed with the Batoche National Historic Site. It is located near the South Saskatchewan River, north of Saskatoon, and it is the site of the largest battle between the Métis and the Northwest Field Force of the Canadian Militia in 1885. And when you visit the site, you can travel back in time and also learn how the South Saskatchewan River provided Métis families with means of transportation, drinking water, and water to wash their clothes and food.
Thanks for that tour, Julie. I guess we'll take a tour now through the North Sask River watershed. So I will first give an introduction more into the NSRBC and the watershed in general, and then we'll go into some highlights and tourist attractions within the watershed. So the North Saskatchewan River watershed is the most northern covering watershed organization in Saskatchewan, and our operating area is 41,000 square kilometers. And within that area, there's 51 RMs, 17 First Nation communities, 100 towns and villages, and then also the cities of Lloydminster, North Battleford, and Prince Albert. And then our office is centrally located in the watershed in Hafford, Saskatchewan. So the NSRBC came to be as part of Saskatchewan's Safe Drinking Water Strategy. A watershed and aquifer planning process was officially launched in this watershed in 2004. And then out of that planning process came the North Saskatchewan River Watershed Source Water Protection Plan. And within that plan, there are key actions that help guide watershed initiatives and projects. So now let's check out some highlights here. So our first stop here is Finlayson Island. Finlayson Island is located right on the North Saskatchewan River between the iconic arch bridges that previously connected North Battleford and the town of Battleford. The island has a variety of nature trails that are maintained year-round, so it makes the perfect place to hike, cross-country ski, or picnic. Our next stop is the Cochin Lighthouse, which is located in Cochin, Saskatchewan. It's between Jackfish Lake and Murray Lake, and the lighthouse was built as a tourist attraction in 1988. You can see all those stairs there. Visitors must climb 153 steps to reach the top of the hill where the 11.5 meter high lighthouse stands. Once you reach the top, you'll get an amazing view of Jackfish Lake and Murray Lake. Our next stop here is the Langham Area. So this, again, we mentioned before, but it marks where the North Saskatchewan River takes on a new direction, heading from southeast to heading northeast. So there is a point of interest a few kilometers west of Langham, and that's where this photo was taken. So next time you're passing through on Highway 16, be sure to take a short hike to check out these views. It's truly beautiful in any season. Now we will move near the Hafford area, which is this area here, the Redberry Lake Biosphere region. It's only about 11 kilometers outside of like our office, so it's pretty close to us. It is Saskatchewan's only biosphere region, and it covers 112,200 hectares. The landscape is composed of rolling prairie, seasonal ponds and marshes, and then lots of aspen groves. So the core area, you can see the blue area, which is actually the lake, so Redberry Lake. It is a saline lake, and it is important as a spring and fall stopover for migratory birds. So if you check this spot out, you'll be able to spot bird species such as American white pelican, whooping crane, great blue heron, and many, many more. And there are 30,000 ducks that regularly nest and feed at the lake during their migratory journey. Also, I should mention that there is the Redberry Lake Regional Park, and all the trails are maintained in the winter as well. So it's a good, it's full of recreational opportunities no matter the season. Our next stop is the Crooked Trees, which is also in the Hafford area. So this trail here takes you through a botanical mystery where you will find a small cluster of aspen trees, and they all grow crooked. The trees grow in like horizontal downward directions, giving it an eerie yet mesmerizing experience. And what's interesting is the trees grow less than 10 meters away from other aspens that don't have this mutation. And then also this site here is listed as one of the 54 wonders of Canada. And then, yeah, this site here, it can be found just in between Hafford and Spears, just north of each of the towns. Our next stop is the Dukabour Caves. The Dukabour Caves are designated as a National Historic Site of Canada near Blaine Lake, Saskatchewan. Russian Dukabour peoples fled their homeland in 1899 and settled near Blaine Lake, Sask, where they adapted to the harshness of their environment by digging and building these dugout-style houses in the North Sask River ravine. Archaeological artifacts are preserved in the site's museum, and it helps tell this amazing part of Saskatchewan's history. And our last stop here for the North Sask watershed is Prince Albert National Park. So the park here is a 1 million acre park where the prairies meet the parkland and boreal forest. Lakes in the park include Kingsmere and Waskesiu and many, many more. It is a sanctuary for birds, notably cormorants and white pelicans, and home to wildlife such as moose, elk, caribou, bears, and more. There are many hiking trails of all difficulties for you at this park. So now I will pass it off back to Julie so she can start off our shared watershed stewardship initiatives and programming.
Thanks, Maddie. So yeah, I will start with the aquatic invasive species monitoring. This is a yearly project that is carried out by several watershed stewardship groups in the province. And this project is funded by the government of Saskatchewan's Fish and Wildlife Development Fund. And since last year, the Invasive Species Center also started to provide us with funding for this project. So we are part of Saskatchewan's Adult Invasive Mussel Monitoring Program, and it is in partnership with non-government organizations like us and other agencies to detect aquatic invasive mussels. Next slide. So aquatic invasive species include plant, animal, and invertebrate species that are threatening waterways and damaging habitats. Aquatic invasive species such as zebra mussels pose a serious threat to lakes and waterways in Western Canada. These small but destructive mussels have been discovered already in Ontario, Manitoba, and Quebec. And they feed on phytoplankton, and phytoplankton is the form the basis of the food web on which all aquatic life depends. It has been said that the probability of habitat suitability indicated that most watersheds in the prairies were highly suitable for survival and establishment of zebra mussels. And these mussels can cause millions of dollars of damage to water infrastructure for power generation and water supply. And the mussels spread by attaching to watercrafts, trailers, and any other equipment that made contact with the water. And we have a quick question for you just to figure out how invasive these mussels can be.
Yes. Yeah. So how many eggs do you think one female mussel can lay in 1 year? Let us know what you think. Alrighty. So there's our results, what everyone chose. Correct answer, 1 million eggs in 1 year. So they're quite invasive.
Yes, so this makes it even more important that we monitor and detect them early should they reach Saskatchewan waters at one point. So what do we do to monitor for invasive species? So every summer we, like watershed stewardship groups, go out to take water samples with a fine mesh net at different lakes in the province. And here you can see some of the equipment that we use for the sampling process. And then these samples that we collect, next slide, will be analyzed in a lab for the presence of veligers, or as we call them, baby zebra mussels, because they're so tiny that you can't see them with your eyes. And in order for you to have a better idea of how the sampling process looks like, we have a short video, and I hope it will work. So yeah, we start off with measuring for pH and water temperature because zebra mussels establish best during specific pH temperatures. And as I mentioned before, Saskatchewan waters have preferable levels of pH for the establishment of these mussels. And then we take the samples with a fine mesh net. And then what we collect will be transferred into sample bottles, and then we label them. And then we also use an ArcGIS app on our phone so we can track the locations and the data that we collected for every group in the province. And then we can keep track every year of what we have done. And in 2021, we utilized eDNA analysis at a few lakes for the first time. So lake water gets pumped through a micro mesh filter that you can see Eric holding here in the picture. And this is then sent to a lab where they sample for any presence of invasive mussel DNA. And for those of you who don't know, eDNA is short for environmental DNA. It is the genetic material that is shed into the environment by living or dead organisms. And eDNA is pretty much a game-changing tool for early detection of aquatic invasive species because eDNA can detect species that are present in low numbers. But yeah, you can also be part of an early monitoring program. So if you have a dog or know someone with a dog, feel free to contact us for a substrate sampler. All you have to do is check the sampler once a month during the summer for the presence of zebra mussels, because as I have mentioned before, they will attach onto any hard surfaces. And the more people that are involved in early monitoring projects, the better the chances to detect these mussels early enough. And of course, always clean, drain, dry your boat and report any freshwater mussel that is attached to your equipment to the tip line. Then we have another project that most watershed stewardship groups do within the province of Saskatchewan, which is the Tree for Life program. And this was piloted for the first time this year. The Saskatchewan Association of Watersheds, which is an umbrella organization of the watershed stewardship groups in the province, launched the Tree for Life program thanks to funding from Environment and Climate Change Canada. So the purpose of this project is to promote positive environmental impact by distributing and planting 28,000 trees across Saskatchewan. So in late May and early June, watershed stewardship groups distributed trees free of charge to individuals, rural municipalities, community groups, and schools in Saskatchewan. And this project was really, was really famous, and a lot of people were interested. So it was very successful. Next slide. Next slide. And part of this project is also a climate change survey. So if you haven't heard of it or have not had a chance, fill out the survey. To fill out the survey, you can just scan the QR code with your phone now. And we will also post the link to the survey in the chat. And at the end of the survey, you can enter your name to a draw for a chance to win a $500 gift card.
Thanks, Julie. So another thing that's important for watershed stewardship groups is youth education. So we help educate youth about watersheds through presentations, workshops, contests, and watershed surface water and groundwater models. You'll see that in the next picture here. That is a picture of the surface water model. So you'll often see us at events such as Agribition, children's festivals, and in schools. Communities who pay membership receive priority with youth education. We can also take our workshops outdoors on field trips. We reach out to schools typically in autumn or early winter to schedule education days with classrooms. And interested schools or parents may contact us for more information, so feel free to reach out to us. So another thing is source water protection planning, or SWPP. So many drinking water contamination events can be avoided if greater attention is given to land use practices aimed at protecting water at its source. So pre-water treatment. One strategy is the SWPP, the source water protection planning. So watershed stewardship groups across Saskatchewan help communities, whether they be rural municipalities, First Nation communities, towns, cities, etc., through this planning process. So the planning process here, we're not going to go into it too much in detail, but it is a decision supporting tool that looks at risk to a community's source water, and also the likelihood and severity of those risks. And then it lists key actions on how to mitigate these risks, as well as to help a community make informed decisions on how best to protect their source water. Okay, so now we are on trail 3 here. So we're going to go through some project highlights. I will start off with the North Sask River watershed, and then Julie will give you some project highlights for the South Sask watershed. So the Love Your Lake program has been ongoing for the North Sask watershed since 2016. The Love Your Lake program, it was developed by Watersheds Canada and the Canadian Wildlife Federation. The program uses a standardized assessment protocol to assess shoreline development such as dock types, retaining walls, percentage of vegetation, and more. Once all the data is collected, landowners receive a shoreline report personalized to their property. The report details the state of their shoreline and gives them recommended actions for improving their shoreline and lake health for both people and wildlife. To date, so far, we have completed surveying on 9 lakes in the watershed, totaling nearly 4,000 property surveys. The Love Your Lake program flows very nicely into its sister program, which is the Natural Edge program. This was also developed by Watersheds Canada. This program looks at bringing back native vegetation to shorelines to protect water quality, wildlife habitat, and also lakefront properties. The program includes a free site visit where we work with the lakefront landowner to develop a planting plan, native plants, soil, mulch. Usually labor is also in the program as well. Most years we have funding to cover 75% and the landowner covers the remaining 25%. That does change depending on funding, but we have been delivering this program in the watershed since 2017. And to date, so far we've planted 1,022 plants with this program. And there's just a quick, I guess, picture of before and after. The after is taken immediately after planting, so it will be nice to see in future years once the plants establish and become more mature to get some more photos of that. Another project highlight for us this year, it's a new initiative we launched called Notice Nature. It's a youth initiative to get kids to look up, look around, and notice nature, which is the first step to stewardship. So our sponsors here, you can see them on the screen. We had 5 major sponsors, including SGI, Sask Energy, Ag in Motion, Affinity Credit Union, and the Global Institute for Water Security. And then also some other sponsors there, and many partners as well to help us develop this. So part of this initiative was we developed 350 Notice Nature kits. They were developed for students, and also in addition to 19 curriculum-friendly bingo cards, which totaled over 300 nature-loving activities. Students, they complete the bingo cards and they submit them to their local library for prizes. And then we also co-developed a Notice Nature identification guidebook series with Eco-Friendly Saskatchewan. Both schools and libraries played an important role in card distribution. We wouldn't have been able to distribute all those cards without those partners. The initiative was a success from what we have seen so far. We are still getting card submissions, even though the initiative has ended. So we're just trying to wrap up those numbers. The initiative, you know, we are hoping that we can carry it out next year just because of how successful it was for its first year. Again, this initiative wouldn't have been made possible without our 13 community partners, interest from schools across the region, 81 participating library locations, the 12 sponsors, and many prize contributors. Another thing I will just highlight, multiple projects. It's not really one project, but fee for services that we are currently offering to communities, rural municipalities, First Nation communities, cities, towns, any community that is interested. The first one I'll cover is weed mapping or weed planning. So this service consists of our field team mapping all invasive plants designated as noxious in the Weed Control Act, or any other invasive species of concern. For larger infestations, we are sometimes able to map by drone. Communities who sign up for this service receive invasive weed locations with species type and density. This data can be handed over to the community either electronically through GIS or paper maps. All data is also inputted into IMAP invasives. And we are also able to provide communities with a weed management plan. These services allow for strategic management of invasive weeds in a community. Culvert mapping is another service that we offer. This service provides a community with all culvert locations, the culvert materials, their condition, and their value. Again, this data can be handed over either electronically or in paper form or both. This service allows for community to make better decisions regarding asset management relating to their culverts, and also to prioritize, I guess, which culverts to fix first. We are also looking into a alert system, which would, as graders or mowers are driving on community roads, they would get an alert notification saying when they're approaching or near a culvert so that it can reduce their damage. So we're still working on that. Another service, the last of the three here, is the water quality sampling. So we offer this service year-round. We've done winter samples at some lakes in our watershed just by drilling through the ice. It's nice to have that data throughout different seasons, not just in the summer and spring. So we offer this to lake communities, RMs, First Nation communities, anyone pretty much with a lake nearby. We will sample lake, river, streams, pretty much anything that you could think of. So we also perform various on-site measurements as well, such as conductivity, pH, temperature, dissolved oxygen, and more. Of course, the water samples we collect, we don't test ourselves. We bring those to a lab nearby, which is usually Saskatchewan Research Council in Saskatoon. What's nice about this is that it provides a lake community with baseline data to aid in future projects, or even to restart data collection from previous years that maybe just faded out, and maybe your community is wanting to restart a water quality monitoring program. So I'm going to pass it back to Julie here so she can cover some South Sask watershed project highlights.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Maddie. So yeah, we also have a variety of projects that we do within the watershed. Next slide. So yeah, it is mostly outreach and projects. So we do workshops, field days, youth education. We attend community events. We do field projects and water resources planning. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to talk about them in detail. So I picked two projects. So one is the Flowering Rush project and the other is the Microplastics project. So the Flowering Rush project is a multi-year project which is funded by Fisheries and Oceans Canada. And before I will begin talking about this project, we have one last poll question for you.
Yes. So what do you think the Flowering Rush project is about? Take a guess. Alrighty, we see some votes coming in. Okay. So there's everyone's choices. Answer is survey and eradication project. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so pretty much everyone knew kind of what flowering rush is, which is great because flowering rush is an invasive plant species which is prohibited in Saskatchewan under the Weed Control Act. So yeah, let's get into this project and what we have done. So first off, flowering rush is a threat to our wetlands and riparian areas and can cause significant environmental and societal impacts because flowering rush displaces native plant species, impedes water flow, alters habitat structure and nutrient cycling, it impacts fishing, hunting, boating, and other recreational activities. Dense patches can establish along shorelines and then affecting recreational users. In 2017, plants were found along the South Saskatchewan rivers by the Alberta Invasive Species Council, and organizations in Saskatchewan were informed of the infestations found. And in 2018, the South Sask River Watershed stewards and partners began surveying. So in 2018, we received funding from Sask Energy to start surveying for flowering rush. And on the map on the left-hand side, you can see where we found plants along the river. So the area from the Alberta border to east of Highway 21 was surveyed. And in 2019, we received funding for 3 years from Fisheries and Department of Fisheries and to map and eradicate flowering rush. So what we found was that there is a large infestation west of the forks of the Red Deer and South Saskatchewan rivers, and this area will be monitored only because of the number of plants and the difficulty in removing them. And yeah, so this project was only made possible because we had partners. So from the Mewasan Valley Authority, Native Plant Society of Saskatchewan, and the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment, they have provided invaluable in-kind support to conduct this survey. And I should also mention this project is important for communities that rely on the river as their source of drinking water, especially the town of Leader, which could see significant impacts if this plant is not controlled. And yeah, so how did we do this surveying process? So basically, yeah, the South Sask River Watershed stewards and partners surveyed for plants and canoes. And to date, the only successful removal has been by hand digging, but care must be taken to ensure that all plant fragments are removed and disposed of. And we have a little video to show you the removal effort. I am hoping it will work. So this was taken just this August in 2021. So we were a group of people and we were removing some patches in the South Sask River. Even though this video is just 20 minutes long, 20 seconds, sorry, I think this was around like 30 minutes to remove just some of these patches that you see in the video here. Perfect. And in 2020 and 2021, we were fortunate enough to have James with the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation on our team. He surveyed some areas with his drone. In 2020, the river levels were too high and made it difficult to use the drone properly. However, in 2021, he was very successful with his drone. He covered the area from Cabourg Regional Park all the way to Saskatchewan Landing Provincial Park. And on this map, you can see that the plant has spread further downstream, possibly because of the high river levels last year. And what he also found is that there are a lot of submerged plants in the middle of the river. And he said that his drone works perfectly in detecting plants that are submerged and might be difficult to see when you're just surveying in a canoe. So because of the spread of the plant further downstream, it was decided to apply for more funding. So we hope that we will get more money to continue with this project for the next couple of years. And then I will just finish up with the Microplastic Study, which is a project that we did in the summer of 2020. So this project was pretty much inspired by a study done in Edmonton. So back in 2019, I was just scrolling through Twitter and saw an article about the study that they had done. I was a technician back then and suggested this project to the coordinator, and then we started looking for possible project partners and funders. So we were lucky enough to have Dr. Marcus Brinkman suggested to us, and he jumped on the opportunity right away. And we received funding from the Fish and Wildlife Development Fund and also from the City of Saskatchewan. And then we have one last video. This will show you the sampling process. Hopefully.
Sorry, Julie, I don't think it wants to play for some reason. So could you run through maybe
That's okay.
a little bit of the sampling process?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's yeah, no, that's fine.
Oh,
yeah,
at the
end,
working.
We will send you a summary of the webinar anyways, and I will include a link to the video because it is uploaded on YouTube as well. So similar to the AIS sampling, we also used a plankton net to filter 500 liters of water to have them tested for the presence of microplastics. And the study had not been done in the South Sask River to date, so it was crucial to provide baseline data to inform future projects. And what we found in the study on the next slide is that preliminary results show that fibers dominated the microplastics found in our samples. And for those of you who are wondering, microfibers can reach the river, for example, when you wash your clothes and fibers are shed from your clothing during the laundry process. And I should also say this project also received a lot of media attention. So Dr. Brinkman and I gave 2 CBC radio interviews, and we were also interviewed by Global Saskatoon for the evening news. So I can say that this project was great for outreach, education, and awareness, as well as partnership building. And I can also say that partnership building is definitely very, very important for the work that we do. And without partnerships, pretty much all of our project would not be possible.
Sorry, and like Julie said, our partners are what allow us to have successful projects and also sometimes possible projects. So we're always looking to partner with individuals, communities, academia, and other like-minded organizations. So if you have a project idea relating to water or environmental stewardship actions in either of our watersheds, please reach out to us, and we will send a follow-up email with our contact information, and we'd be happy to discuss potential collaborations with you. So I will pass this off to Eric here to lead the question and answer section if there are any questions.
Thanks, Maddie, and thanks, Julie, for the presentation. That was great. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to raise your hand if we want us to unmute you and ask it. audibly, or if you want, you can type it into the chat. Yeah, we'll allow a minute or two for that if anyone's got any questions for us today.
I know it's also a lot of information to get in like less than an hour time. So if you do have any questions
Yes.
after the webinar, feel free to also email us or reach out to us on Facebook as well.
Yep.
Oh, I see a
Okay, I'm
couple
not
hands up.
sure. Jake Bueller, go ahead if you want to ask your question there. You can unmute yourself.
What is the effect of the large number of irrigation projects that are coming out of especially the South Saskatchewan River? Are these damaging? Are they okay? What do you think of the large irrigation projects?
Yeah, for us as the South Sask River Watershed Stewards, I think they're still in the development phase and doing consultations and other things. So I think there isn't anything available at the moment. So for us as the stewards, we're just there to provide information and share information. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about that. They're still doing consultations and measurements and things like that. So I have no idea at this point, unfortunately.
All right, thank you. I also see Thomas Abe has his hand up. Go ahead and ask your question if you'd like.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted now. First of all, just some remarks. Thank you so much for this little tour through the North and South Sask watersheds. It was very neat to see some very familiar places, and I wish I would have visited some more places while I was still in Saskatchewan. So, but hopefully there's an opportunity to catch up on that later. And I'm also glad to learn that so far still no zebra mussels have been found in Saskatchewan. So this is great. And yeah, thank you for all your hard work on raising awareness to prevent the spread of zebra mussels. Just a little question I have regarding the weed mapping, which was something that came up during my time with the North Sask, and I'm interested in especially the drone mapping. How is this done? Are you using the drone to visually identify weeds, for example, the flowering rush or any other weeds, or do you have sort of a sensor or something that allows you to automatically detect certain weeds? Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, thanks for the question, Thomas, and the remarks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll let Julie chime in too if she's got some information about the drones that they use for her project for South Sask. But just we did do a weed mapping project, kind of as a pilot project, mapping some lease land for one of the local RMs in our watershed. Some of it was done on horseback, on UTV, was done through walking the terrain where it was more difficult to traverse. But we also use drones, and so I had flown one of our partnering organizations, as you might be familiar with, Red Berry Lake Biosphere region. We rented their survey grade Phantom 4RTK drone from them, and we used that to assist us in mapping to see how viable is it for us to look at basically how can we identify weeds using drones. And so we did a test to see at what heights you could see with the built-in sensor or camera, and you can fly at lower heights. And basically, the long story short, it was established with any of the reasonably affordable drones out there at this point in time, just with the standard cameras they're equipped with. They're great for monitoring smaller locations or parcels of land, like something like 160 acres or smaller. but not for doing large areas like multiple sections of land out of leased land pasture per se. But yeah, that's it's something we're working on, something we're looking into, and it's definitely an asset we've now have in our tool belt now. So we're thankful for that. It's an ongoing research, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for that little update here.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas. I did see a couple of questions in the chat. I'm just going to mention them. Stephen Wig had a couple in there. His first question was, any idea if the federal government is making steps to limit products which create microplastics? Looks like Julie, I see you
Yeah,
may have put
so
that somewhere. I'll let you comment on that if you want.
I answered. Yeah, I can. I know that the federal government will introduce a ban on certain plastics in the future. So, and I should say that microplastics are derived from larger plastics. So let's say plastic bags, water bottles, and things like that. So it's really just a small step to eliminate that. And then I see your other question, will that include clothing? Yeah, I don't think that this will include clothing when it comes to that. I think it's just these single-use cutlery and things like that they will ban, but I don't think that this will stretch all the way to clothing. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think from what I have read, they are still in like the research part of things. So I myself as well, Julie, I haven't seen anything on the clothing part, just like you said, the single-use plastics. But hopefully
Yes.
more data will emerge from more research studies, and we can see exactly how that will roll out.
Yes, I know the government has already banned microbeads, so they were used, for example, in facial scraps, so they are banned, but they have been banned for quite some time now. But yeah, they will expand it to ban some single-use plastics in the future as well.
Okay, well, I don't see any more hands up from any attendees. Yeah, I think that's it for our Q&A session at the end. Thanks for your comments, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us today on Take a Hike Day. Thanks for wandering along with us on these hikes and these virtual tours. So again, we'll be sending out the recorded session to each one of you, and as well as our contact info for any future follow-up projects. So thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and happy hiking.
Thank you. Have a good
Thanks,
day,
everyone.
everybody.
Have
Thanks,
a great
everyone.
day.